What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Reek Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek, and this is the latest installment of the What's Next series. This is where we talk about what's next for some of your favorite NBA teams. This time, the Memphis Grizzlies are the topic of discussion. So let's get into it, man. The Memphis Grizzlies made the 8th seed last season. They beat the Warriors in the play-in game, which was a instant classic if you were watching that game live. Ja Morant really put the world on notice, along with guys like Dillon Brooks having great seasons. Even without Jaren Jackson playing the majority of the year, they were still able to make a postseason run. And I think they took one game from the Jazz in the first round, but they were pretty much in most of those games, just were unable to really finish the job. But good season for them getting into the postseason. But this offseason could be a little polarizing if you ask some people. I'm kind of on the fence about what they did this offseason. Are they better as a basketball team? I'm not really sure. But the Memphis Grizzlies front office has done a very good job of just making the correct moves, drafting the right players, getting a lot of great value in later round picks and stuff like that. So maybe it's not something that we should look at on paper as what they did this offseason until, we see them play on the court. But, let's talk about some of the moves that they made this offseason. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. This is a place where we talk all about NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. And the big move that they made to start off the offseason was trading away Jonas Valenciunis, who was a focal point to this team offensively last season and in the past couple years. Most nights, or at least some nights, Valenciunis was the best offensive player on the court for the Grizzlies. Not Ja Morant. Valenciunis was the go-to guy. He had a lot of games where he was putting up like 20 points, 15 rebounds, had some 20-20 games in there. He's proven to be a capable three-point shooter from the 5 spot. Really a dominant force in the interior, and they decided to trade him away to get back Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, and they swapped first-round picks with the New Orleans Pelicans, so they moved up all the way to number 10, and with the 10th pick, they took kind of a surprise guy. We're going to get into that, but, as far as that trade goes, I think a lot of people were thinking that the Memphis Grizzlies, lost that deal, but I kind of seen the direction. Maybe they're just trying to, add as many young pieces as they still can. They were able to trade away Bledsoe back to the Clippers in the trade that they got back Patrick Beverley, who was no longer with the team, Rajon Rondo, who's no longer with the team, and I believe they got Daniel Otero too. So they were able to shed that Eric Bledsoe contract. But just an interesting offseason, like from the Grizzlies from that standpoint. Let's get into the draft where they took Zaire Williams with the 10th pick, which I think shocked a lot of people. Most of the big boards I've seen and mock drafts, I didn't see Zaire Williams' name being taken in the lottery. It was usually like between like 18 to like 22 or something like that. And they took him with the 10th pick. One thing about the Grizzlies, like we said, they do a great job of just drafting the guys that, they think will fit best in their system. Of course, about Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson was a good find. And I think he was a top 5 pick. But then guys like Brandon Clark, even though he fell out the rotation last year, was a very good pickup in, his first year and a half or so. Dillon Brooks, I think, was a second-round pick, a late second-round pick. He's proven to be a starter quality player in this league, and a lot of other guys too that they have found in the drafts or in trades where teams giving up on young players. They were able to take those guys and help them reach new levels, like Grayson Allen, who is also no longer with the team, who they traded away to the Milwaukee Bucks. But the Memphis front office does a very good job of finding talent, so we'll see how Zaire Williams plays once the season starts and how he develops and how he will run with this young core. Other notable moves in free agency, we talked about how Eric Bledsoe brought back Rondo and Patrick Beverley and also Daniel Otero. Rondo ended up getting a buyout just recently. He's going back to the Lakers. And they traded Patrick Beverley to the Minnesota Timberwolves, which brought them back Juan Hernangomez and also Jared Culver. And I think the Jared Culver pickup is kind of interesting. I think it can be. It's a low-risk, high-reward type of move. Jared Culver was a top 6 pick, I believe. I think he was number 6 overall just a couple years ago, man. And he showed a little bit of promise his rookie year. Didn't really get that same opportunity. Not that he didn't get the same opportunity. He just didn't produce last season. In his second year, took a big step back. And, the Timberwolves just decided to give up on him and get a guy in Patrick Beverley back who they think can help them right now and try and win some games. And I think for the Grizzlies, this is a good spot because you're taking a chance on the guy. If it doesn't work out, all you gave up was Patrick Beverley. And if it does work out, then you have somebody that was a top 10 pick. He was the number 6 overall pick just a couple years ago. Somebody that was who was thought to have a lot of upside, could still have that. So let's see if they can maybe get that production back. I believe they did this with Josh Jackson a couple years ago. And Josh Jackson, he played pretty well for them, and now he's playing good basketball in Detroit. They tried to do that with Justice Winslow. Didn't really work out as he's now shipped off to the Clippers. But, maybe Jared Culver can be a success story with this Memphis Grizzlies team. And I'll be interested to see if he does work out, that could pan out very well for them. He could play alongside John Morant. We'll see how, they decide to run Dillon Brooks. We'll see Zaire Williams. But I think the main thing for this team is just keeping your guys healthy. And by your guys, I'm meaning Jaren Jackson Jr. He has to stay healthy. He has to be healthy for this team because they are a much better basketball team when Jaren Jackson's on the court. That's, a pretty easy statement to say. But he has not been available for this team, most of his career so far. I mean, I know his gameplay totals are not crazy. Last season, he pretty much missed the entire year except for the last maybe month of the season. He missed pretty much the majority of the bubble. He's been a guy that's been injured a lot, and it's sad because when he's on the court, he plays really good basketball. But keeping him healthy is going to be key. We'll see how that plays out. But as far as just the outlook for this Memphis Grizzlies team this season, I'm not sure if they are trying to build on what they did last season, making the playoffs, getting a little bit of playoff experience, winning a game in the postseason. John Morant had a big-time playoff run. I believe he averaged over 30 points. He had a 47-point game in there. Dillon Brooks developing as, a guy that is a really good defender and can also have games some nights where he's one of the better offensive players on the court. Developing Jaren Jackson, still hoping he can stay healthy. Kyle Anderson had a big step up this season. A lot of guys had really good seasons for the Grizzlies, but are they trying to capitalize on that and, continue to be a playoff team, or are they content with just, being a fringe playoff team, trying to continue to add talent to this young roster? I'm not sure. But one thing about the Grizzlies, I think last season we expected them to take a step back, and they took a step forward. Instead of just being on the outside of the playoffs, they made the playoffs. They were above 500 this season, I believe, by 4 games. They had a very good year. So one thing about the Grizzlies, you can never really count them out. We probably look at the moves that they made this offseason. Steven Adams might have a resurgence season playing with John Morant in a pick and roll situation. That could definitely be the case, or they could take a step back because I think on paper they don't look as maybe talented as they did last season. But they always have guys that, come out of nowhere and step up. Maybe it's a Jared Culver that steps up this season. Maybe Jaren Jackson's able to be healthy and have, a 2010 kind of year, if he steps his rebounding game up and stuff. That could potentially be the case. You never really know. We'll definitely have to see. I think John Morant could be an all-star this year. I really do think so. I think they're trying to open the floor up even more for him. I think playing with somebody like Steven Adams in the pick and roll can be very helpful. They might miss just the reliability of Jonas Valenciunis because he was a reliable post-up player. Also could stretch the floor. He was somebody that you can run your offense through at times. They might miss that, but this is an opportunity for guys like John Morant, for guys like Dillon Brooks to, run the offense a little more. Jaren Jackson, given that he's healthy, he can, spread his wings a little more, maybe play a little more to 5 this season. They got young guys like Xavier Tillman. We'll see if Brandon Clark is a part of the rotation this year. A lot can happen for this Grizzlies team, and I think they're in kind of a win-win situation. If they don't make the playoffs, it's fine because you are a very young team. And if they do make the playoffs, they get to continue to add to that experience. John Morant gets to continue to establish himself as one of the better young talents in the league. And the Grizzlies team can be a force to be reckoned with years to come. But I think for right now, their offseason was, on paper, it doesn't look great. But I think they got the blueprint of what they want to do. And I think it will work out perfectly for them as they've already got some playoff experience. And there's going to definitely be more in the future. But the West is tough this season, so we'll see what their fate holds when the year starts. But that's the What's Next on the Memphis Grizzlies. Be sure to tune in next time because I might be talking about your favorite team. But until next time, y'all. Peace.